happen in your chart. So here again, we take the Jupiter, we highlight the Jupiter phases, but it's not going to move that much. If it changes sign, it'll change the sign once mostly, unless it went forward retrograde right away. But even that would take 20 years. So this is, it stays in the same house in the same sign all my life. So I just have that highlighted, nothing else there. Then we got to add Saturn's progression. Saturn's going to move even less in 3 months. Saturn doesn't move that far. 2.5 years to a sign, 3 months. But we're going to mark the sign, the house. If it goes retrograde, we have to mark it in. So we highlight the Saturn. And my Saturn, it goes retrograde. It went retrograde in 1980. It's right on this line. I haven't marked it in yet. Here, but you highlight it. Okay, and then it never comes. It goes when it doesn't get direct again in my life. So my Saturn stays within about 3 degrees my whole life. It goes through it, but in those 3 degrees, does it get closer to the square to Pluto or closer to the square to Jupiter? Or what happens? There's aspects going on while it's happening that add intensity to this and explain long-term phases in your life. Same with the other planets. They move a degree or two in 3 months, maybe a degree or two, at most, minimal. Maybe 4 or 5 with Uranus, but we shade in the Uranus phase. Mine starts at 19, at 19, it goes up to what? It went up to, mine starts retrograde. No, what happened here? Starts at 21. Mine starts retrograde and just stays retrograde, goes retrograde. 21, 38, 21, 22, 20, yep. Yep, and it just goes retrograde through my life, but it goes from 21 degrees back to 18 degrees. So 3 degrees. But each degree has its own energies, might touch a star, might touch things. There's unique things that can happen in those 3 degrees. Neptune. So we get another set of ephemerals for Neptune. We do the same thing. We change the sign, change the house, or goes retrograde or direct, we mark it. In my case, Neptune goes straight forward. It goes direct in 2034. It goes retrograde in 2034, but it still only moves from 8 degrees to 10.5 to almost 11 degrees. 3 degrees in my lifetime. And then we set up Pluto's. It's nice to be doing these because we never had a picture for Pluto before. And so, okay, my Pluto starts at 1311 Leo. And it went retrograde. It went retrograde 1319 in 1992. So my whole life was going direct within 1 degree, and then retrograde stays within that whole degree until 2016. It just changed back into the degree before where it was. So it's not, Pluto's just going around its orbit. It's really the Earth moving around backwards and forwards like a pendulum. As it moves around, it looks like it's going forward and backwards. So those that's why the retrograde periods they go on for 2 or 3 months anyways, or sometimes longer. I included the North Node. We don't use it in the classes. It's just a sensitivity marking eclipses, but it's a sensitive point, not a function. But I put in the nodes and I mark it in. I don't mark the retrograde or direct. That's marked on there. The true node goes backwards and forwards a lot. But I just marked the degrees just to see. And that's okay. So that's basically organizing your progressions by using the ephemeris. So I've sent you the sheets. I sent you a PDF or a zip file with each of your, no, I didn't send you the ephemeris. No, I didn't. I sent you on the next level. I sent you some, I'll be sending them tonight, some other ones. So, okay, that's it for level 1. Part 1 of this. The next thing we got to do, Okay, this is what I'm going to send you. This is my ephemeris, which has a little glitches in it, but this is basically organizes progression by degrees, by subdivision. It shows the pentans. It's like we have a 30-year phase of the signs, but we have 5-year plans inside it with the pentans. We have 6-year stages with the hexagrams, each hexagram giving other meanings into it. So there's many things we can tap into to try and understand while we're working through our progressions. So this was just a, I don't know, what do we have next? Yeah, so this is a closer picture of this, of my son. Just, this is my son's progression. So move about 90 degrees. I just did it for about 90 degrees. And really, if I live longer, but there we go. There's my progressions in life from Libra through Scorpio through Sagittarius through Capricorn. And there's the red lines mark the pentans. And there's purple lines in here. Can we get it bigger? Let's see. Oh, I think I have it bigger on the next one. But also you'll see as it's going through there, it'll conjunct, I show the conjunctions, it conjuncts certain planets. There's other aspects, but I didn't mark them in here, but there's other aspects that will happen along there. And then as it's going along, this red line is going to touch certain stars. And this is where you begin to see, perhaps sense the meanings of stars and the energies that can come in from them. Okay, so you're going to have that section of your chart, 90 degrees from your sun, filled in. It'll be just like this, different stars, depending where you are, but different pentagrams, different hexagrams, but those divisions are there. So if we look at this a little more closely, yeah, okay. So here's the sun. You can see here, my sun starts, it's in 23 Leo, so it's in 23 degrees of Libra, so it's in the Leo pentan. Then it goes into Virgo pentan, Libra, Scorpio. It has all the pentans written across. And the purple lines here mark every 6 degrees, and they mark the I Ching hexagrams that fit for. They're not written in on this. It's too much information to try and put in. But there's 6 degrees for each hexagram and 1 degree for each line of a hexagram going through that. So that's a whole other depth of interpretation, which we'll get to. And then as it goes along, you see when it hits the conjuncts to Jupiter, conjuncts to Mercury, conjunct to Mars, conjuncts the IC, conjuncts the Venus. My whole life, my progressed sun goes through the 3rd and 4th house, 5th house. It's not, it's about my depth of my understanding. It's not about midheaven or status. I'm not going to, my stuff isn't necessarily going to be recognized that much while I'm alive. It's more, I'm more into the depth of the content of things or the deeper understanding of things. So then it's going to, you see where the stars come in a little more close. So being able to calculate this, we have the star guides, so we know what we can figure out. We can go through and see which stars, which magnitude stars are going to touch, what degrees they're going to be at in the years that we're in our life, and we'll see when the progressed sun would fit into that. But this is a computer program, my computer program. They call it Stars Insight. It's really the RASA9, and we're hoping to. It needs a redoing because there's little glitches and things in it that aren't exactly right, but it organizes things. I've used it for 50 years or 40 years. It's 40. It started building it in the 80s. This was finished in the 90s, but it had, my computer guy just couldn't do any more programming. He stopped and it stopped. So it's really based on the 90s. It still will run pretty much intact on System 10 and on System 8, but just put your birth date on the top. Then this was the program was made. It does natal chart stuff and that, which we did. I think I gave you. I would have sent it to you when we looked at the I Ching. But this gives our progressions, and it's just a straight printout. But when we mark it in, we highlight it and bring these highlights out. So this is, I'm going to be sending you each of yours. You'll be getting one for each planet. Your progressions for a lifetime calculated out. Now, what you'll find when you check this across more modern calculations, they're better computer programs, and these can be out of date. The exact day it changes can be fluctuating because these gets down to very fine divisions. So it's making divisions based on a couple of minutes of a day translated into progressed time, and it's too accurate to really do that. So it goes to the limits of how far you can go with this. But first, there's 3 columns. You have your date. Here's my birthday, October 17th, 46. 2 o'clock the time. There's the planet, say 23 Libra. 18, so it's the Libra sign. Then it shows you the I Ching hexagram, 62, line 6. Ponderance is a small, you don't know the names of it, you'd have to look it up, but it gives that hexagram line 6. Then after the Libra, it shows you the Leo pentan. So I brought up a big kid, Leo pentan. And in hexagram 47, line 5. And in this first part of my life, my parents, my parents had to get married because I was coming. It wasn't the other way around. So, but I had my pentans, the Libra, Leo, and the subpentan of Cancer. So you see, the pentans are organized here right away. Each of the pentans and the hexagrams and the lines for each one. And you see, if it's a minus beside it, it's a broken line. If it's a solid, a plus, it's a solid line. So this is I Ching stuff. It tells you what house it's in, and just tells you sun geocentric. It should be saying equatorial, but it's the geocentric sun progression. So it starts off conjunct my sun. So that's just the first beginning. Then it goes forward, and I'm following the 23 degrees long. When it hits 24 degrees, it's a change of an I Ching hexagram. Every 6 degrees, it'll mark the change. You can see it if you follow the I Ching hexagrams. 63, 62, line 6, it changed to 53, line 1. Big change. You go through line 1, line 2, line 3. So each line change is the broken line. It's a line change. It's a hexagram change on the next level over. We're going to go into this in more detail, but this is really going through the secret. You have a hexagram and a line of that hexagram for 1 degree. On the second level, on the pentan level, you have a hexagram for that 1 degree and a line for each 10 minutes of a degree. And on the subpentan level, you have a hexagram for that line. That's that 10 minutes of a degree, and each line is 1 minute and 50 seconds, 1 minute and 40 seconds of a degree, which seems really small, but still big enough to hold any planet in it. So these are the different compartments, the 3 layers. We dealt with it. You're familiar with the signs, the pentans and the subpentans. There's the hexagrams, the subhexagrams, and the sub-subhexagrams, what I call them. But as you watch them along, they go along, and I'll mark in. It'll be all green as long as it's in Libra. Then you'll follow the pentan. 5 years, the progressed sun in 48 went into Virgo. When it hit 25 degrees of Libra and went into the pentan of Virgo, where it would be there for 5 years. In the meantime, each year or so, it changes from the subpentan of Libra, instead of Libra, Scorpio, Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. So I've just marked them out in colors so you can see each of these things on the box. So this is what this ephemeris, this printout does. It's we'll be using these. It gives us all the information we're going to need, but we're going to get it by computers too. See, this program isn't ready. I have to try and get it together in the new year and raise some money and get some programmers to help and get this remade into a more like an app or a modern type of program. So you can see if it changes over a house, there'll be a solid line, there'll be this line to say it enters this house on such and such a date, actual date. There's no need for the progressed calculation date here because it's giving us the exact dates as we're going along. Okay, the progressed constantity is only for working with the ephemeris. Okay, and allowing you to think things through like that. So this goes along, and just watching the time we got. Okay, good. So it goes along, and if there's an aspect, it puts all aspects, all the main aspects on it. So even the inconjunct or the quincunx or inconjunct 150-degree aspect puts here. You'll put the degree it happens in, the sign, the pentan, the subpentan, the hexagram, subhexagram, sub-subhexagram, tell you the aspect, tell you the degree that's exact at 2851 Taurus, and tell you the date and the time it's working on. It just gives the time in hours because this is where it's really on this finest level. It can be out a little bit, and like there'll be differences in what this time would be to. Might be 6 hours, might be half a day to the time of other computer programs. Partly because this was this was done from an earlier program. There's much better ephemeris, more detailed ephemeris now, but it's not in this program. So that's one of the weaknesses of this. This program was set up to work perfectly or be quite exact for 1900 to 2000. But as soon as we get outside of that orb, the outer planets start not being a minute or two out, and that changes this fine level at a big way. So really, it's limited. This is again why the program has to be remade. But it marks that there's the green change, and that's going from when my progressed sun goes into Scorpio. There's the Scorpio phase. So you're just going to get the lists. You mark when you get a list like you mark it up so you read it. You don't just leave it blank like this. You mark in the sign changes, mark in the 5 degree. Every time it's 5 degrees, 10 degrees, 15 degrees, you mark in the pentan change. You just underline it because it's all calculated out for a year. You can just follow them down. It's chronologically in your life. When there's an aspect, there's not a date on the left-hand side. The aspects are shown on the right-hand side. Otherwise, the dates, there's a date for your birthday every year. It calculates it for your birthday and then interpolates between birthdays when these things would happen. So it takes the division one day in ephemeris, another in ephemeris, calculates divisions, divides it into 6 or into whatever, and figures out where everything is. The only difficulty is that sometimes things change. They don't all move at the same speed, and the subtle changes within a year aren't exactly recorded. So when you get down to this fine detail, it warps a little bit. But still, all of these hexagrams, all these pentans, all these stuff, they're still going to be in this order in the sequence. It might be a day or two out from the starting point. But when you're getting down to this finest level with the pentans, it's for about a year. The pentans are 5 years, the subpentans are about a year. But when you get to the hexagrams that are each for 10 minutes, one hexagram for a year, one line for 2 months, then you have a hexagram for 2 months. Each line is 10 days. So you're starting to get phases of 10 days in your life for a progressed sun, giving you information. You can go and tap into the I Ching. You can check out the pentans, subpentans. You can see the signs and see if there's aspects. There's always something you can spend a few hours on any day you want about your progressions. Okay, so this then it shows where it conjuncted Jupiter. So I just highlighted the things, so it became easier to read. Well enough, this was done for here, but really you still have room to mark in things on the side what happened at these times up till now to be able to get tuned in to see how your history. In transits, we started our spreadsheet to build up the history. And hopefully you kept it up because you would have rebuilt a lot of your history and remembered a lot of things and got them in dates, and you have them in that spreadsheet now. So you have a pretty full or fairly full bio of your history of your life, down to month of every month of every year. Well, by progressions, I was able to get down where almost every month of every year of my life, I have something that I can remember, that I can put it in place. There might be a few periods of 2 or 3 months where I can't remember. And it just went in that way. But I've pretty well been able to reconstruct my history incredibly through this. And that cleared up my memories day to day. So this puts in all of the ones for the sun, when the pentans change, when the subpentans, when the hexagram changes, when the aspects happen. This is your progressed chart, or your progressed sun. It's all in a lot of detail. So it's piled. So once we've done the sun, then we're going to go, you're going to get, sorry, it keeps going, let me, sun. So this is, at the smallest level, there's quite a few pages for this. I think I only did the sun. Oops. Okay, it comes to here. Okay, so from here, this gives us the information. And from here, we're going to go in and we're going to end up starting to calculate the star charts. Okay, I'm not going to do the star charts just yet. We're going to come back to because the information, but the information in this printout gives you all the information needed to work with the star charts and get the star charts going, to watch your progressions with all the detail. So these star charts, they're quite incredible because they're measuring. As you look on the left, you see the Libra sun. You see the pentans are marked in on it. You see the hexagrams with the names of the hexagrams that are going through with the 6-year phases. And you see the lines of the hexagrams in which degree they're in, and each degree is marked going along this. And each 5-degree section is marked just in the middle part, almost in the middle part. Just there's 25, 20 degrees, 15. It comes from the top to bottom, 0, 5, 10. So you can see the 5 degrees. You can figure out the degrees in between, and the individual lines are marked on the edge of the purple line for each degree. So it's letting you look at the, a degree on your chart is such a small thing. We've expanded this up to be this, here's 30 degrees, and we're seeing all the detail of all the information inside each degree. And our progressed sun's going to come along and go through this and accumulate the experiences of those degrees. So we're going to draw our hexagrams in, and then we got to figure out the dates for it, which these programs have calculated. Okay, and I've sent you the star charts, so we're going to be teaching you how to use the star charts and what we have to do to get that going. Okay.